Hey everyone, before we dive right into the action, I wanted to let you know that I stream these things on Twitch, and if you wanna hang out with me while I'm live, you can follow the channel, will be the first link in the description. Alright, getting the white pieces, gonna be trying out the King's Indian attack. But I'm going for d5, gonna be going for the fianchetto. And okay, we see an early c5. This is getting interesting because if they follow it up with knight c6, we actually have quite a solid alternative to like play d4 and transpose into the reversed Grunfeld with an extra tempo for white and definitely interesting prospects. In that position, best for black would be to go e6 and then we get into like a Catalan. That's not really the goal for this series, so I was about to play with d3. And we see my opponent going for e5, which is obviously just hanging the pawn, but for the sake of this series, I'm gonna ignore it and just try to get like a normal game. And gonna be continuing with knight e2 and e4. Actually, for about including bishop g5 ideas in our repertoire, but after analyzing these positions quite a bit, I came to the conclusions that it's not really worth it and much simpler to just go knight e2 and e4 all the time. And as a rule of thumb, we're gonna be recapturing with a d pawn, and like not with the knight. So now black has a choice. Bishop e7 is most natural. Bishop d6. Okay, bishop e6. I'm not sure it's that good. Nor bishop g4. I think you should have like prioritized castling, but against this, I think it's nice to just start with h3. See what he has in mind with a bishop. And okay, against bishop h5, could just do e4. I'm thinking, yeah, that's like pretty reasonable. And the reason why I'm starting with h3 is that he could potentially get this, and I just want to avoid him trading my fianchetto bishop if I can. And now we're playing e4, and basically he has a choice between either taking or going d4. I would actually be quite happy if he goes for d4, because we get into a fixed structure, which is gonna allow me to show some of the typical maneuvers, and then it will be mostly about attacking my my opponent's king. If they take on e4, that is gonna be leading to more of like a positional game. How do I decide when to play c4 instead of e4? Well, the thing is, you could do c4 in like many lines against these suboptimal openings that my opponent play. But as a rule of thumb, I'm gonna be playing with e4 most of the time because it's really like the key pawn break for the King's Indian attack. So sometimes e4 it's not like the best objective move, but I'm just doing it to keep the pawn structure as typical as we can for this series. So I think you can get away by playing e4 most of the times. And now I would actually like to play queen e1, and that's looks a bit strange because you could be wondering why not queen e2. And the goal of queen e1 is that I'm trying to basically unpin so that we can move the knight away and then push the f pawn, which is our main source for an attack. But if we start with queen e2, queen e1 right away, then a potentially annoying move could be knight b4, hitting the c2 pawn. So for that reason, I'm gonna be starting with a3, stopping knight b4. Next up, plan is to just go queen e1, move the knight away, f4. I think we're having like an amazing attacking position. So gonna do exactly that. I think my opponent will simply continue with like either bishop e7 or bishop d6. And then, yeah, see bishop e7, just go queen e1, preparing knight h2. Like knight h4 could be a thing in some positions, but definitely a bit more risky. Could also play like knight c4, but I don't really think we need that move specifically in this scenario. So after he castles, let's say, I would just simply go knight h2. I think it's the simplest, and then we just follow it up with f4. I think he's most likely gonna have to take. Okay, we see h6. This actually kind of incentivizes me to go like knight h4 to f5, because g6 will create more weaknesses. But again, for like the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna go like knight h2. Idea to go f4. Even if he doesn't castle, f4 is still like the way to go. We're gonna have like a lot of pressure in the center as well, so it's not like he can stay with the king there forever. And also, like if they go long castle, king is also gonna be a target on that side as well. So I think f4 is the right move. He's definitely preparing long castle the way it looks. And could also think about starting with knight c4, long castle and then do f4. I think f4 is like anyways a good move. Might just very well start with it. Could also do knight c4. I think I like knight c4 here. Thing is, if he doesn't go like there, we could perhaps play without f4, because like if he goes on the long side, then maybe we could simply play bishop d2 and break with b4. And there's actually like no way to open up the kingside position. And okay, on like b5, could potentially have interesting idea to sack the piece and play like f4. And then after knight c6, e5. And we're getting some activity in the center, even though I don't think that really works here. And perhaps best to just go knight a5 because it's defended by the queen. And after he plays b5, it's pretty clear that he's not going to be castling on that side. And this generally means he'll have to go short. But then we can do the typical f4 thing. And we managed to like attack him on the king side. So bit of a subtle game so far. Basically just trying to play some waiting, useful moves and see whether opponent wants to castle long or short. And then we basically commit to whether pushing on one side or the other. And okay, on knight a5, I think he probably will take. If he doesn't take, we might just very well exchange on c6 and then play f4. c4 is usually like a typical move, just trying to create counterplay on the queen side. I'm not sure that works though, because it looks like we can take twice and win a pawn. Could also like do decent on b takes. I mean on knight takes, there is queen takes. And if they do this, pawn on e5 drops. So I could definitely go for the pawn grab. Could also play without the pawn grab. I think it's actually even easier to play without grabbing the pawn. Just going for the f4 push and ignoring it for now. I think it's definitely easier. I don't want to really play like an exploitative game. Just trying to steal the pawn and run away with it. I want to actually like show you some of the key ideas and why the h5 bishop is so misplaced. I'm having like a huge threat of going f5 and then g4. Bishop will get trapped and yeah, then just might very well win the piece. He could go cd, I'm just gonna take, and queen c2 I think shouldn't really be that big of an issue. On bishop g6, I could take on e5, knight e7 and perhaps simply support a pawn with knight f3. Could also think about f5, basically locking the bishop forever, and then with g4. Not super sure about like how I want to play this yet. I think I can definitely do it either way. I think I'll start with knight f3. Could have taken the free pawn, but now I'm setting up a small trap. Like if they take, maybe we could go like knight e5 I wanted, and idea would be to take on g6 and create like a pretty big weakness. Could also ignore it and just go g takes. But it's like nice to have these options. Could also do like knight takes now, followed by e5, hitting both the knight and the a8 rook. So he has to play knight d5. And maybe that's like okay for him. But I think this move is like pretty strong. I need to decide. Could also take. I think I'll keep it simple. And then maybe queen g3, f5 ideas. Like f5 immediately allows queen e5. So yeah. Taking again is like an idea, but doesn't seem to work so well immediately. If I go there, maybe knight h5 is a bit annoying. Okay, f5, queen e5, bishop f4, there is like queen c5 escaping, so that's also not gonna cut it. I think at this point maybe simply knight takes and queen g3 might be super effective, and there's no like good way for him to defend g6. At least not one that I can see. Could also just develop with bishop d2. So like queen g3, knight h5, queen h2, there's like bishop d6. That's like a bit annoying for me. But maybe there's knight g6 and e5 just winning. So okay, queen g3 gonna meet knight h5 with queen h2. If that happens, I think we should be good. Also creating huge threat of f5 now. So that's why he goes back. But I think can still go for it. And now having this threat after attacking the queen. So I think this is perhaps winning. Even though he still has a resource with knight h5. That's like a bit annoying. So we'll need to keep an eye on that. So queen d6 is like a good move by my opponent. Might have to play bishop f3. Just avoiding that, and on knight d7 we'll have to go bishop f4. But I think the position is very good. I just need to come up with this kind of precise little details, which I would say generally you don't have to be this precise in order to get like super nice initiative. But looks like we have a bit of a like random scenario, and yeah, against these could start bishop f4, could like collect the h6 pawn, forcing g6. I think collecting the pawn is like easiest, and now knight h5 is not an option because bishop captures it, and like g6 seems to be only move, or knight e8, but I think g6. But after this, can at the very least cash in the exchange, or like take on g6 once. Could also play bishop f4, just unpinning. Which one do I want to go for? Perhaps unpinning looks best. Just bishop f4. This is kind of annoying, so need to keep an eye on it. No need to go like super greedy. Just, you know, we're having an extra pawn. We're having huge attack. No need to go like super greedy and collect like worthless rook. And now I think we have a nice trick because knight defends bishop and threatening this as well. So I think after this move we're completely winning, and yeah, could actually take with a knight, but he has king h8, but then we win the queen. That's like super sweet. Watch this. So this is check, discovery, king h8, threatening rook g8, winning queen. But then there is this move, and we check him and we actually get to win the queen. So this is actually super nice. There's absolutely no counterplay for my opponent. So yeah, gonna cash in the queen, and I think this is actually a really well played game. I might be wrong on that though. Wouldn't be the first time my intuition let me down. Gonna go e5, double attack. You can still play rook c8, but queen e7 looks good. If he like ever checks me, just king h2 slash king h1. Yeah, just king h1 I guess is like easiest. And now the knight is under attack, also the rook. And okay guys, I'll show you the easiest way to just end this. You don't need to like go super precise, keep the queen, play for the mate. Easiest, take all of his pieces. Give up the queen, we take one rook, one knight, and another rook. So we'll have simply two extra rooks in this position, where he only has the bishop to fight with. So you see that this forces resignation, and like by playing this way, okay, here it's a bit of an exceptional case when probably you're gonna win anyways with the extra queen, but saying like you're up a piece, can do these like tricks to exchange everything and will generally give no counterplay like your opponent. So say that's like super effective strategy in general, and we managed to get this one in. Thanks a lot for making it this far into the video, and in case you're looking for more episodes from the same series, make sure to click one of the videos that will appear on the screen. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you around on the channel. Take care.